And just like that, we're back. Look at this. Back-to-back shows. People are going to start calling me Jonathan Lee Riches. My goodness. Think I'm about to brew me another pot of coffee. How's everybody doing? Yo, strangers. My goodness, it's been a long time since we've had two shows back-to-back like this, but needs to be done. Needs to be done. Got to keep the heat on. Stacy, Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon. Now, I have invited Brandon on the show again. If he tries to call or messages or something like that, I will mute myself. But you will be in good hands because today we have a very special co-host. I call her Sam, but she runs an amazing channel and she has been doing fantastic work covering Michael Vaughn. Let's hear it for our friend Samantha. Tell us all about your channel, girlfriend, but you know we have to do the standing ovation. We got to do it. Fantastic work you've been doing, my friend. Of course, you've been doing phenomenal work on Kyron Horman as well, so I wasn't shocked. You're digging and digging.
We are. Yeah, I'm really enjoying doing other children besides Kyron Horman. We got pulled that direction when you invited us to, help spread awareness for Michael Vaughn, and it's just kind of taken off since then. We changed the name of our YouTube so we can have a platform for other children. The new name is Missing Pacific Northwest Crimes Revisited. And yeah, we're just excited. Right now we're doing Monkey and Kyron, and we'll be eventually, as soon as the cases kind of slow down some, adding some more children to the platform. But yeah, we're just really super excited. And, I'm so happy you asked us to bring awareness to Michael, because this little boy, he's just so beautiful, and those blue eyes and his family, everything, it's heartbreaking, but he's just a beautiful little boy. And we're really happy to be doing what we're doing. So.
And he deserves to be home with his family. This is not like Summer Wells. This is not like Harmony Montgomery. This is not like Audrey Cunningham. This is a true abduction. There are 4 suspects. Nana Banana says, I've been following Kyron with you, Samantha. Well, you are in good company because she knows her stuff.
Well, thank you, Nana.
And I think if we twist her arm, she'll come on next week when we get done with Harmony's trial. I'm on pins and needles about that one. And we will do another show about Kyron Horman.
Absolutely. I would love to come on and talk about Kyron.
Anytime, my friend. So let's take a second and tell everyone hello again, because we have people in here that weren't at the last show. Everybody gets a howdy. Welcome your neighbor. So glad you guys made it. Tell you what, old Stacy Wander has been up to no good. He actually sent some very threatening texts to a woman named Mary. I hope those have been turned over to law enforcement. If she didn't do it, I know plenty of other people did. Did you hear about this, Samantha?
No, I haven't. Who's Mary?
Well, we'll go through that in a minute because, I'm not quite sure who she is. But, we have our friends in here that will fill us in. Maybe Purple Phoenix can come in. Brandy will come in. I'll drop the link. Lana said, no, please share. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. To Boston Mom says, where is Michael, Brandon? Brandon, you would be honored to know, because I know you're listening, because you saw my Facebook message. Stacy, for some reason, does not get anxious about anybody reaching out to Sarah. He even says she's not stupid. He says she's not retarded like you. You know, Stacy's so eloquent when he speaks. He said she knows everything is being monitored and recorded. She's not going to say anything. Those are his words. She's not going to say anything. Well, what would she say? Adrian, he's not concerned about. What gets his goat is when you say, Brandon's talking. That's when the turds start flushing. That's when he gets beyond upset. And his anger is aggressive. What do you think about that, Samantha?
I don't think Stacy wants anybody talking. I think he's nervous about anybody talking. He's just talking. And just, I don't listen to anything he has to say because I think he's a liar.
Well,
And
there's truth.
Brandon probably does make him nervous, but I think any one of them, if they were talking, would be making him nervous because the way he looks when somebody brings up Adrian's name, he doesn't look too happy to be, listening to people talk about Adrian coming up. I mean, I know there was a live once when Adrian popped up in the comment section, and the look on his face, he looked like he was going to pass out. But there's been a lot of back and forth with him and Brandon. They've really been the only people coming out and doing interviews. Sarah really can't because she's sitting in a, facility. So, let's just say I think anybody but Stacy's going to be nervous because Stacy wants to be the only one talking.
He wants to run the show. But my
Yep.
conversations with him, like I said, Adrian doesn't really get his goat. Sarah, as he said, she's not going to say anything because she knows things are being recorded. He's not worried about Sarah saying anything. Brandon worries him. And I hate to tell Stacy, but he has said plenty. Yes, has he lied? You better believe it. But there has been a lot of slips that were jaw-dropping. Don't you think, Samantha?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you'd know more than I do. You've talked to these people on the phone. You've had multiple phone conversations with many of them. So, you would know better. I'm
And anyone else?
sure that they were out talking anyway, just giving the interviews. I mean, I still go back and watch some of the interviews that's been given.
Absolutely. Hold on. SW4x4 says the link isn't working. It's also on the channel. Do you have an iPhone? Or are you using a laptop? Or, are you using like an Android? Someone will have to help you. Or you can email me directly at cll72020@gmail.com and we'll get it figured out. I promise. Indie Girl said, say anything about what, Stacy? If you didn't do anything and you have told all you know, you have been forthcoming with your information, then what do you mean say anything? Say anything about what? Very poignant, don't you think? She's not going to say anything. Brandon, in his mind, is the loose cannon. See, they're not friends anymore. They're not in the throuple. I do want to address, I had a couple of comments that said, oh my God, why do you keep talking about his weight and your sex life? That is none of your business. Because he has made his weight a point. He has said at that time he was pushing 600 pounds. So he couldn't possibly, in his words, do this. Okay, so these are his words. As far as the grotesque relationship between Brandon, Sarah, and Stacy, he brought it up. OJ, he brought it up, and not only did he bring it up, when the detectives met with him, Brandon, and Sarah, separately, of course, for interrogations and questioning, They brought up the love triangle. You see, so these things are relevant. Would you touch on that for me, Samantha?
Well, you've got Sarah having sex with the men in the house. There's a lot of tension in that house. I mean, and you have a husband who, yes, may have allowed her to sleep with Brandon, but you can't say that he ain't mad about it. He literally said he would. Oh my God, there's that word again. Ever since the interviews, I've said that word so many times, literally, literally. And then you
Literally.
had to say it multiple times too.
Literally.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tension in the house with her having sex with the men in the house. Stacy's not happy about it. There's got to be some jealousy there going on. So tensions are high. People are mad. You know, she's like queen bee running the show in the house, using sex, maybe even drugs to control these men.
Food, shelter. She held all the cards. All
Yeah.
the cards. Gives them a place to stay or flop. And actually, her mother as well, because Kay was footing the bill for all of this. That's her mother, foster mother, whatever you want to call her, not her biological mother. Um, hmm. So they're holding all the cards. Again, they dig Adrian up from behind a dumpster, bring him back to the house. She has talked about her sexual sins, clean him up. There's Stacy and Brandon. They're already in the throuple. Stacy complains about having to listen to them F all the time, and it was disturbing him, but he was still friends with Brandon up until after he thought when he got out, he still was going to be friends with Brandon. He didn't know what all had gone down.
Brandon won't even admit to having
Mm-mm.
S with Sarah. He flat will not even, yeah, on his JLR interview, he denied it.
Oh yeah, but he brought it up because JLR was asking about the relationship, and he goes, "Oh yeah, she liked me, but I wasn't going to give him a baby." That's exactly what that was about. Just Steph said, "Why compare or bring up Queen Bee?" She said that, OJ, I have to have this. Do not eat those cords. Now I don't know what's going on with you. Go watch your birds. Um, No, she's saying that Sarah was, controlling the house. She was the queen bee of the house. It's a metaphor. She's not talking about the creator.
Yeah, no, I was not.
Yeah, let's not start that war. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I don't need a new war with my new stuff taken off.
For real. Woo! For real. I know how that is. Okay. Last week before. Now this is from Chroma Chronicles that clipped this. Brandy got on another panel, and of course she's welcome to come up here. And she basically addressed the community as a whole, not Samantha particularly or specifically, not me specifically, but some other things going on. She knows that there is a couple of creators that are still blaming her and Tyler, even though there are 4 named suspects. Can you make sense of that, Samantha?
I cannot make any sense of it at all. I've actually been looking into a lot of stuff because since I am new to the case, I wanted to try figuring out why would people be going after the parents? What's going on with the parents? What were they doing when Michael come up missing? I looked onto the interview room with Chris Madonna and was watching some clips because he had went to their home and interviewed Tyler and talked with Brandy, spent lots of time with the family, talked with the Detective Huff or Captain Huff. And, Tyler is seen on cameras in the neighborhood looking for Michael. He was in a house with people in the house when Michael came up missing. There was no time for him whatsoever to do anything with Michael. If he would have harmed Michael, as far as like cleaning up a mess or burying him or anything. Lord help me for even saying that. But I mean, he's seen on camera all over the neighborhood. Brandy is on camera at her store where she's working at Albertsons. Then Grandpa, he's gone from like 3 p.m. I think until he comes home and sees police cars there looking for Michael. I mean, nobody in that house had anything to do with anything. They searched that property. They searched properties along 9th Street with dogs in the yards and everything. They went in and they searched their house multiple times. They even cut the water heater open looking for Michael. They even searched. Tyler was talking about opening up drawers in the workshop and, no. Multiple searches in that house, they came up with nothing. I also found multiple clips of Huff and Brandy working together. I found clips where Brandy is shaking the hands of the governor when Monkey's Law goes into effect. I'm sorry, the governor of Idaho isn't going to be shaking the hand of a mother he feels is responsible, or law enforcement thinks is responsible for Monkey's disappearance. They have came out in the open. They have said it multiple times that this was an abduction, and only 4% of the time when a child comes up missing is it an actual abduction. Usually it's got something to do with a family member, or just some kind of other circumstance where something else has happened to this child and then a family member is responsible for it 96% of the time. But no, 4%. And I hate calling it a coincidence, but Michael comes out of the house. He's wandering around the neighborhood. Neighbors saw him. Neighbors spoke to him. And Chris Madonna confirms it because he talks to these neighbors. And Michael is traveling around the neighborhood, and during that time, there just so happens to be sickos in the neighborhood looking to abduct a child. And there's even a clip of Tyler, poor Tyler, and the guilt that he feels. This reporter asks him, why haven't you been out talking in the media? Why aren't you the one being the spokesperson for Michael? You were the one that were at home when he came up missing. And he says, and you're going to have to excuse my language here, Brooks, but he says, because I feel fucking guilty.
Mhm.
I mean, can you imagine the pain that he's holding in his heart? It's absolutely heart-wrenching. He talks about not even wanting to get up out of bed. I mean, Brandy doesn't want to get out of bed. Who would want to get out of bed if their child was missing? And they're still living their everyday lives, paying their bills, going to work, raising 3 other children, and then you got Buggy missing her brother, and oh my gosh, it's so heartbreaking. You've got 2 teenagers in the house that totally understand what's going on from the day he came up missing. Poor Bubba and Blue, they just, kids at school want to talk to them about this. I mean, when the yard's getting excavated, there's kids asking them questions about what's going on. I can't. The whole situation, I can't. I mean, Brandy and Tyler and their family are listening to these dump trucks, listening to these, the digging going on. I mean, you're not very far away, and all you're hearing is beep, 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 stuff backing up, things loading up, trucks traveling up and down 8th Avenue or 8th Street. And I couldn't even.
I could hear them. I was on the phone with Brandy one day. I could hear them. He was sitting outside. I could hear the trucks. So for Stacy to say, "Oh, I just made that up because they were interrogating me too hard," I was like, "Well, why didn't you call it off when the family is having to hear these trucks?" Because he thought that was going to be his plea deal. He didn't know. The joke was on you, Stacy. They moved Michael while you were in the pokey. Vet girl, welcome. She said Monkey's Law is a huge win for the state. And let me tell you, Tyler and Brandy and a few other people in their corner worked tirelessly for that. And right out of the bat, Dirty Rejects Archives said there's no evidence of an abduction. Are you with the FBI, Fruitland, ISP, Cold Case Foundation, or Idaho Search and Rescue? Which one of those agencies are you with for you to know there is no evidence of an abduction?
There's lots of evidence pointing to an abduction. They even found evidence besides what they found in the ground. There was evidence in the house. I mean, if a child is wandering around a neighborhood talking to neighbors and everything else, and then he just disappears, nobody sees him again, what happened to him then?
The very first article I read, my friend Kat, our friend Kat, said, you really need to discuss this case. And I was like, well, hell, where the hell have I been? I didn't know anything about this. And I started going through the articles. October 2021, abduction. News conference, an article, November 2021, abduction. That's what the police were saying. Not me. That's what they were saying. First time I talked to Brandy, I said, Brandy, I said, unless Tyler is Batman, there's no way in this time frame he could have done the unthinkable and covered it up and still be seen outside looking for his son, calling you, waiting on the police. No, doesn't work. So Dirty Rejects Archive, if you want to grab the link and come up, I would love to know what agency you work for. Are you Fruitland Police, FBI, Cold Case Foundation? There's several agencies involved. So for you to know there's no evidence, you must work for one of them. That's insane. All right, so let's get to this. This broke my heart. We're going to go through it. Samantha, wherever you want me to stop.
What is this?
This is from Chroma Chronicles, where Brandy has a message.
Let her speak. Hey, Brandy.
Hi, Brandy.
Sorry. Hi, Grannies. Hi, everyone.
Sorry.
Shit. Please, y'all, stop. Eve. I understand. Everyone, please stop. Please, please. We all have our differences in opinions. We have all the doxing, the putting personal information out. I don't agree with it. And yes, I have said some things in private conversations.
Okay, I'm behind, and I really, I'm not going to get into that, private things, stuff like that put out. But like she said, she was talking to people that she trusted, and she has said things out of anger. How pissed off would you be if you knew your child was outside playing and was abducted? Would you be like, oh, well, or would you be pissed off? Samantha, you're in the hot seat. You tell me.
She has every right to be pissed off, but I mean, she's not just pissed off, she's heartbroken. I mean, this mom has talked about wandering around and putting up flyers until her feet are sore and to the bone. She messaged in a comment section during one of our lives and told us about how she was posting up flyers during the snow and ice storm that was like a month ago up here in the Pacific Northwest. And she was walking around putting up flyers for Michael in snow up to almost her knees. I mean, she's heartbroken. She's pissed. And she has every right to be pissed at these suspects. These suspects know where Michael is. And none of them are coming forward and telling her where her son is so that their family can have peace and move on. And that's where her anger is coming from. And if she's out there and she's talking out of anger and stuff with other people, people just need to be very careful about, what's said then after that.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have never spoken to Brandy, only in comment sections during live shows.
Mm-hmm.
My heart goes out to her always. I love her. She's just this really strong mom with a broken heart. I've heard Purple talk about her sitting on her porch all day long waiting for Michael to come home.
And that was horrific. And when the excavation was going on, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I have tears in my eyes right now because can you imagine a mom sitting on a front porch waiting for their child to walk in? Just come home? I mean, put yourself in her position. And then let's just add on to it by attacking her, her husband, and her family, her dad. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
She's heard the press conferences. She has spoken with detectives. She knows more than we do. She's just not going to blab it on YouTube. She has heard the things that Brandon has said. She has heard the things that Brandon's mother, Tina, has said. She has heard what Carson, the neighbor, has said. She has heard the Stacy Wanderer World Tour. She's heard these things. They're devastated. They are devastated.
I actually just watched this clip, watched the end part of this show a few nights ago. Yeah, very crazy.
It just it's like middle fingers upset. How many times does this woman have to tell people, stop, listen to what law enforcement is saying?
Mhm.
There are 4 suspects. There is Stacy, Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon. And if anybody wants to catch up, I have a whole playlist for Michael Vaughn. Whole playlist.
I would never say publicly, and I would never I've said things out of anger. Everybody, please stop, please.
Brandy, have you ever? I'm sorry.
There are 4 suspects, and everybody has their opinions, and I understand that. And now, whether I agree with your opinions, well, I'm a hothead, and I have my piece and say it, and I try to say it privately. Now it has been put up publicly, and our lives. There's been lots of things over these past 929 days, and everybody just take a breath, take a step. Michael Joseph Vaughn went missing on July 27th of 2021. We have been fully investigated by law enforcement.
They have been fully investigated by law enforcement. Fully. And Brandy, as you get to know her, she over apologizes. She'll have an outburst and then she'll apologize. And I'm like, you have every right to be angry.
She
Guys,
doesn't owe anybody any apologies at all. She shouldn't have to be apologizing. She should be able to scream from the rooftops any damn thing that she wants to. People listen, hear her, and that's that. No apologies, Brandy. You don't owe anybody anything.
I have a question from Lucia. She wants to know who Brandon is. I got to take down Kat's comment. There are 4 named suspects. I got to take down the banner too. Hang on. You guys are in good hands. Don't worry. The woman that looks like the Hamburglar, top left with the yellow shirt on. This is Sarah Wanderer. Below her, that hunk of burning love is her husband, the irresistible Stacy Wanderer. They are married. On the right side, this is a man at the top right corner. His name is Adrian Lucien. They found him, well, she did, behind a dumpster in Caldwell, Idaho. She brought him home. Underneath him is a man named Brandon Shirtliff. Stacy met him while they were doing a moving job, and he moved right in. Now then, Brandon, Stacy, and Sarah were all 3 together when they had to put power steering fluid in at Southwest 8th in Arizona, when they saw the child that somehow morphed from a 4 to 5-year-old to a girl to a Mexican. And the 3 of them were together out and about towing Brandon's junky ass Mercedes back from Kuna, Idaho with a tow strap back to Fruitland, even though he already had transportation because he was a Domino's delivery guy. But it was a ploy to keep them out of town, in my opinion, for several hours. They have the timeline that fits for an abduction. Tyler Vaughn does not. Tyler Vaughn does not.
And still not investigated, but we have fully cooperated. We are not suspects. Keep Michael's face out there. Please keep the focus. I want to specify, I have not asked Eve not to talk about Michael's case.
She is fully aware that Eve, she has a channel. She's fully aware that Eve pounds on her and Tyler all the time. She didn't even ask Daisy not to talk about Michael. She wants people to share his picture and talk about what the facts law enforcement have put out. So when some people say, oh, she's been telling people not to talk about Michael. That doesn't happen. And Eve's on panel. She didn't tell Daisy that. Daisy lied. Now, while we're going through this, I need everyone's help. We are trying to get Samantha's channel to 1,000+ subs. She's at 976 now. So if everybody could click on this link and let's get her up where she needs to be. She works extremely, extremely hard. There's the link. Oh, Chloe put it in too. There you go, Dina. Tyler was doing everything a normal parent with a baby and child does, and within noticing Michael was missing and rushed to find him. When he realized that Michael wasn't calling back for him, he was frantic out looking for him. He was seen. Now I know some people will say, well, then where's all the ring camera? Where's the CCTV of Tyler out looking? How come we haven't talked to the neighbors about what they saw? Because it's none ya. These people are witnesses.
Law enforcement is going to keep this information close to the vest. That's what they're going to do. It is not going to be out there for everybody to see all of the information. They can't release this kind of information. We're not privy to this information, but we do know that it was talked about, that it was out there. We already do know it. We just don't know all of the facts. We can't see the footage. We can't hear from the neighbors. That's the kind of stuff that's privileged. We know that it happened, and that's that. That's that.
Not going to. And I mean, I'm just as I'm on pins and needles like everybody else. I mean, I want to see it all. Bring me the case file. I won't tell anybody. Yeah, right. Like that's going to happen.
I have done so privately because I felt a certain way about certain things. It's not what's important. What else? Eve, I appreciate your respect of not using the nickname NJ, and yes, I know law enforcement has used that, and we corrected them. That is a special name, and I know FBI used it as well. I corrected them as well. Sorry, I'm a bit of bossy lady.
Yeah, his nickname is Monkey, not MJ. And so she's correcting people on that. She's like, no, that his nickname is Monkey. She has every right to do that. She is his mother.
But I thank you for acknowledging that. Michael, MJ, excuse me, Michael, Monkey, Michael Joseph Ron, Monkey. MJ is only used by his Nana and his auntie. Those were given to law enforcement, so let's clarify all of that. And
I will respect that, and I'm sorry if that came off as I did not know. I sincerely didn't until it was said through creators, but I'm going to respect that.
And I appreciate that, and thank you very much.
Do you want me to end this, Brandy? You ladies can speak privately.
I want.
You want everybody to hear it?
Yes.
I understand.
Michael is who is important. And I understand everybody's emotions and feelings, but they have to remember that Michael is still missing, and he is our baby. And
Michael is still missing. He is our baby. She starts off saying, I know people have their opinions. Vet Mom, thank you for the reminder. I'm going to screenshot that. When I talk to Brandy later today, I'm going to remind her of that. I definitely am. I think when it comes to things like this, it's like, where does she want to spend her energy? I think that's it. I see you, said my apologies. Didn't know you were live again. Maybe later you and Justin can get together. Yes, I will call him after this. My apologies. So when Brandy, and I'm not trying to correct Brandy, when she says, I know people have their opinions, she's 100% right. In this case, this is something I just got off of that handy dandy Google. In this case, there are plenty of facts out there. One, I'm going to say actually 4 big facts we have is that there are 4 named suspects and a looming grand jury. I don't work there, so I don't know what it takes to put together a grand jury. This is not TV. Fact, something that can be verified, like we have 4 suspects. Opinion is a belief or judgment about something, like you think the 4 suspects will be cleared and that Tyler and Brandy will be brought in as suspects. That is an opinion. That is not a fact. Fact is based on research or observation, like what the authorities have been doing, many agencies. Opinion is based on your personal view, and for some people, that personal view is their dislike of Brandy Neal, and it cannot be verified. Fact, verification is possible. Your opinion cannot be verified. Anything you want to add to this, Samantha?
Well, I think you pretty much said it all right here. I mean, yeah, facts are facts. I mean, people can have their opinion. That's just great. Let's just, have our opinions and not hurt anybody and use facts to go over Michael Vaughn's case. Because that's what's important. We don't want to be spreading rumors. We don't want to be putting out any kind of misinformation. Brandy has mentioned sticking to the facts and what law enforcement knows. That's what's going to bring the best awareness to Monkey's case. And we need to respect her wishes too.
And her wishes are keep Michael's name out there. You want to talk shit about Tyler and me? That's fine, but stick to the facts. Law enforcement has put plenty out. And Eileen, you win comment of the day so far. She said, opinions don't find missing kids. I think that's going to be the title of a show coming up. Opinions don't find missing kids. Don't you love that, Samantha?
I do. I love that. Yep.
I have chills.
I mean, everybody is allowed their opinions. We're not saying that you can't have an opinion. Just, when you're talking about your opinions, let it be known it's your opinion. Let it be known that it's not a fact, at least. Do that when you're talking about your opinions.
That's why we hear so many times like a broken record. In my opinion, you hear me say, I don't know. This is just my opinion. Put it out there. And we have some breaking news. Because of you all and being awesome people and being here for all the right reasons, our girl Samantha, who deserves it, has just crossed 1,000. It's showtime, Samantha.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
It's showtime, girlfriend, so you know what that means.
Thank you guys so much. That is awesome. That's exciting. Thank you guys. I really appreciate all of the subs. You won't be disappointed. I mean, we work really hard over there, and just to let everybody know, it's not about the money or anything. For us, it's going to be helpful, because if I can become monetized, then the videos and stuff that we put out and the lives that we do, they'll be seen a lot more than other stuff that we've done. And all we want is to bring awareness to these children. So
and you do a wonderful, respectful job unlike Cyber Ninja, who said you wake a baby up. How many of you have ever woken your child up from a nap, whether to change them or because they've slept too long and you want to sleep at night? Then you go outside to smoke. Has anybody ever gone outside to smoke, or do you smoke up the house so the kids get secondhand smoke? Nope, something up with that. Thank you for cracking the case, Cyber Ninja. Samantha, should we bring Cyber Ninja on panel?
You want to come up, Cyber Ninja? Come on up. Explain to us. Because I have 3 children and 6 grandbabies. And here's the thing. If your child falls asleep later on in the day and the baby or the child wants to continue sleeping and you're thinking, oh my God, bedtime's in a few hours, I better get them up so they don't keep sleeping so that we can actually get our child to bed tonight so we can all get some sleep instead of being up all night with the child. You're going to wake that baby up. You're going to wake that child up and you're going to say, okay, time to get away. I mean, doctors even say that a 20 to 45-minute nap is amazing for children. You don't have to let them sleep for hours and hours. It's good for them to have little short naps. Yeah. I've woken up my grandkids. I've woken up my own kids multiple times just so they're not sleeping all night long.
Brandy said, Cyber Ninja, maybe you should work for FBI or CART team. So going forward with this case, because I think by now the writing's on the wall and everyone at this point should understand after over 2.5 years what is going on here. We have 4 suspects. So if you want to come in with accusations, I need to know, or when you say there's no evidence, be transparent and tell us what agency you work for. Are you with the Cold Case Foundation? Are you with Fruitland? Are you with the FBI? Are you with ISP? I'm running out of, are you with the Idaho Search and Rescue? Who are you with that you know this? Or do I need to put the fact versus opinion table up again? What to do, Samantha? What to do?
A lot of things do hurt. And I understand going through things that have been said over these past 2.5 years and learning things and all of the things that have been done. A lot of people have been hurt. A lot of people. And I don't want anybody to feel any of this hurt. And I understand some others' hurts. So that'll take time because there's always 2 sides to a story. 3 sides, right? So everybody, please just take a breath. Just take a breath. And please trust in the fact that we've done everything with law enforcement and they are doing a good job. I get it. I get going back over things. You know what? I'm not the nicest person in the world, and I've never claimed to be, and that's for facts. So if everybody could just take a step back and stop hurting each other, please, because there's no way in this world that Michael will want any of this. He wouldn't want anybody. Okay, please, everyone.
I will respect that, Brandy.
Go with the facts with law enforcement. I know, going back over everything, I understand the timeline. Please trust me. I know. I've lived it every damn day, and we're still to this moment. So I want you all to please be kind to one another and just think of Michael. And, he is pure love and light and joy. And Buggy's following straight in his footsteps, and his big brother and sister, they've been through hell. So just be kind to one another. You can have your opinions, you can have your differences. I have to say my piece because I can't take any more of it. And I'll say my piece elsewhere. I try to do my best on that. So I'm gonna go back in and go sit down, but I'm tired of everybody fighting. Just show his beautiful face. It's been too damn long and we need answers. And I have full faith in our law enforcement and everything that's going on. So let's be kind to one another, okay?
Thank you.
And stop hurting each other, please. Don't be doxing each other. I don't condone any of it. I don't.
You got it, Brandy. We care about you and your family. We support you.
I know I may have said things in private, but I would never do.
You have that right.
To be
You're
honest.
human.
We all met in private.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah, well, then when it's put out publicly online, it's not fair. And
I
all
agree.
of it, everyone, all around, everyone, all around, all of it. So
Couldn't agree more, especially what you go through on a daily basis. I don't care what you said in private. I'm sure you had a reason.
I just want, please don't lose focus with Michael. Michael is still missing. We don't know where he is. There are 4 suspects named. And just please trust in law enforcement and what they're doing. I do. We do. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And I'm sorry for anybody that's getting hurt or anybody that has. It's not right. None of it's right. I don't want anybody to feel any of this hurt.
No one's hurting me except for the pain I feel when I see what, these parents are going through. That's hurtful. That's hurtful, but I don't stir in shit, because my granny always said, you stir in shit, it's going to splatter on you. How about you, Samantha?
No, I'm not stirring up anything. There's a question when I go to do a live,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's on Michael Vaughn or Kyron, the first thing I ask myself, is this something that, in Michael's case, like, is this something that Brandy and Tyler would mind me doing? Is this a live that, she could watch or they could watch, and something that I say would, because I don't want to piss off parents. I don't want to upset them. I mean, sure, there's going to be times when there's such really touchy subjects, but as long as I feel like what I'm saying and what I'm doing is okay, then I'll do that live. But I'm not going to do a live if I feel like it's going to upset a parent.
Well, you do very respectful work. Not going to lie, I've pissed off a few families, but, needed to be done. And since Brandy requested it, and she said, keep his face out there, Brandon, Stacy, Adrian, Sarah, if you're near the kiosk and you're able to get some internet time, I know your mom puts money on your books. This is what you have taken, allegedly, from this family, this precious little boy.
Yeah.
Like Snow said, how could you? Now, Samantha has done quite the deep dive into Stacy. I am not going to show her last live. I'm going to show a few of the documents that she has gone through, because I want you to watch it on her show. I want her to get the views. She's a very good friend of mine, great friend of the channel's. Before I get to that, Spirit Seeker, we have gone through it before, but this is more of Stacy not keeping his story straight. Do you know who has kept their story straight?
Brandon and Tyler. Or Brandy and Tyler, sorry. Brandon. I get my mouth. Yeah, they've kept their story straight. Law enforcement believes what they're saying, but all of these other suspects don't do anything but lie.
Mm-hmm. Dynamite said, keep the foot on the suspect's neck, Brooks. I'm going to need your help, Dynamite. TCB, our friend Samantha, any creators in here, the dam is getting ready to bust. Mark my words. I can't give you a date. I can't give you a time, but they're getting itchy. They're getting itchy. They all expect to be indicted for the abduction of Michael Vaughn.
It snapped because Sarah jolted the truck and snapped the tow strap. So I had to, we had to pull over, and then I had to reattach or tie the tow strap back together. And then Sarah, I think, used the restroom on the side of the road like she usually did when we had no access to a restroom, but then that was the only time we had stopped.
I mean, why didn't she use a bathroom at Brandon's mom's house?
She did.
Oh, okay.
Her bladder is ridiculous. I've never met somebody who has to pee as much as her.
Yeah, well, you haven't met me.
Maybe not.
My friend Kat, who's in here, she'll tell you I'm like a
Doing the best I can. I want people to know like I'm not this evil monster that people are making me out to be. I don't have the capability or mentally.
So Brandon's
Ouch.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Brandon's I guess ex-employer said he's basically like a
Brandon's ex-employers. I don't know that.
okay, some of it's clipped out. I was telling Stacy that Brandon's ex-employer, Brandon is inflamed by this conversation. He doesn't like what happened with his employer to be brought up. His mom or his sister. His sister really gets under his skin. I don't see his sister being complicit in this at all. But his mother, even though she was out of town, yes, she let authorities come and search, but she was very snarky about it. She said, "Oh, the dogs let me know I have a leaky toilet." Idaho Search and Rescue said that's not what they're trained to detect. Home skillet. That's not what they're trained to detect.
Mentally stable.
For at Brandon's mom's house, you said Sarah used the bathroom. Did she walk in the front door or how did she get in?
Through the garage.
Is it like one of those garage doors that you hit the button and the garage door comes up? This is something that needs to be talked about again. I know we have. This was a conversation between the three of them, Brandon, Stacy, Sarah, when they went to the house, and then it was added in that Brandon had a duffel bag with him, but Stacy, being the mind Olympian that he is, made it clear to everybody it's not a duffel bag you can put a human in. Thank you, Stacy. They made it where they made it clear they were going to go through the garage. Now, this whole BS about how Brandon isn't allowed to be at his mom's when she's not home. No way. He's baby boy. He has full access. He wouldn't have had a key to the door or know the keypad to get in through the garage. If she didn't want him there and he was that dangerous to be there alone, all of that would have been changed. So he goes, beep, 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 beep. Garage door opens. Why not take the key and go through the front door? Because there's a camera. You're an adult. You're an adult and you're sneaking in your own mama's house. Beep, 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 beep. Garage door goes up. They did not want to be on that front door camera. Why? Because they had a duffel bag? His mother wouldn't care. His mom wouldn't give a shit. Or is it one of those like where you pull it up?
No, it was the garage door button.
Who had the garage door opener?
He knows the code to the little thing that's on the side of the garage that opens the garage door. The pin you put in. The code opener.
Is there any cameras on his mom's house?
Yeah, on the front, but it doesn't cover the. She went.
Okay, he pauses, but it doesn't cover the driveway, is what he's
Right.
trying to say. Now, Samantha, why would they not want to be on camera?
Why wouldn't they want to be on camera? I think we all know the answer to this question. You know, the story just changes and changes and changes when it comes to how they entered the house, what Brandon did while he was in the house, changing his clothes, doing the laundry, how big this duffel bag was. It was small. It wasn't big enough to put a human in. It was a medium size. It wasn't a large. You know, the story that he tells, just it goes on and on. They don't want to be seen on camera. I mean, why is Stacy Wander taking a picture of Brandon's mom's house too? She's out of town. I also have mentioned the fact that if Brandon's mom didn't want him in that house, that code would have been changed on that garage.
Yeah, he still
I
wouldn't
said
have.
the same thing.
You don't want someone in your house. I mean, hell, like when someone gets fired from work, they change all the security. They don't want him coming back. They don't want him to have access.
And they tried to claim that they weren't at this house for very long, but if they're seen on camera, there's going to be time stamp. There's going to be footage. You're going to know exactly how long they were there, when they pulled up, and when they left. They
Well,
don't want to be seen on camera.
and she does have a security system. Let's just say it's ADT. I don't know what Tina has. They're going to have records at what time that garage door open. Oh, there will be records. So they can spin all the iCloud shit they want. Actually, that iCloud stuff helped us immensely because they were on Highway 16 at 9:56 p.m. They're going to know Michael Vaughn was abducted between 6:40 and 7 p.m. They're going to know what time that garage door opened. You idiots. This is a criminal mindset to say because there's a camera at the front door. Who cares?
I mean, and Stacy himself has put him right there at Arizona and 8th. Between 6:30 and 7 o'clock was the last time he gave about being there for the power steering fluid, even though all of his other times were way before that. Why isn't he a person who has a mechanic shop, a person that knows about cars, knowing that they're fixing to leave town, go all the way to Nampa, not putting in the power steering fluid before they leave town at the house in the driveway? Why are you pulling over to the side of the road right at the same time as Monkey is wandering the neighborhood? Why are you at a splash pad earlier that day? Why is a man that looks like Brandon wandering around a splash pad that day? Why is Stacy Wandra at another splash pad? Where is that? And next to Brandy's work. I forget the name of that town. It doesn't make sense. It's like they're scouting for a child going to all of these multiple places where children would be throughout the day. And then Sarah and Brandon are driving around the mall again, to me, scouting for a child. They're at Brandon's mom's house. She's not home. They're avoiding cameras right after Michael just came up missing.
You got it. And I think that the argument the night before, now this is not fact, this is opinion. Okay. Going to preface that. The argument the night before, Brandon talked about an argument the night after on the 28th. I can only imagine what that was about. That's when his NHRA jacket got stolen. Whatever, dude. Things were heating up in the house. Stacy told us on this channel and other channels that he was getting tired of listening to them, Brandon and Sarah. He was tired of listening to them do the horizontal boogaloo. And he found out later that she had an oral fixation with a certain part of Adrian's. Stacy wasn't liking any of that. Things were heating up. So yes, what was going on in that house is relevant.
Through the far side of the garage, and she only has cameras on the front of her door.
And that was the day that Michael was abducted.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Oh man.
How come Brandon wasn't living with his mom? Okay, well, we know that story. So let's go through some of these documents. Please and thank you. You've done amazing work. Ooh,
I have to give all these documents credit to my partner, Kaylee, because when it comes to finding documents, she is one she is one to find it if it's out there. You know, and in searching for documents, she found that a lot of Stacy Wandra's childhood stuff has been sealed. And then there was a lot of documents that couldn't be uncovered. And we've ran into that before, and we're assuming that it's because those documents are being held over possibly for Michael's case, because it just didn't make sense that you couldn't have access to some of them. But yeah, she was able to find some documents, and we are waiting for more. So yeah, we'll see what else we can uncover.
great job. So let's talk about because this is very, very fine print, so I can't blow it up. Let's talk about different. Well, here's one. That one's a bigger one. He claimed he was assaulted by staff.
So this is Stacy Wander in 2015 was staying at the Montana Developmental Center. This center provides, it provides stabilization, assessment, and treatment for people in crisis. It's a state facility for people with serious developmental disabilities, plus mental illness. Behavioral thank you problems that can cause them to be a danger to themselves and a danger to others. There was about 50 people staying in this center, and this center was going to close down. And so all of these people that are in this facility are fixing to be let out and onto the streets. And one of the reasons why it was going to be closed down was because there was reports of neglect and abuse, and 33 people sued Montana State and the center. And Stacy was the only one out of them that claimed physical assault. But we also found another court document that fits right into this time of the lawsuit between September 27th and September 29th of 2016, 15, 16, that goes with this physical assault that he is saying, that he actually got charged with and got a $500 fine for. So I'm thinking he actually attacked somebody that was inside this facility. Now there was a person, we don't know if it was his adopted mom or who it was close to him. She'd actually went to court and testify, about this whole situation. Yes, Tammy Johnson, she said, I did it. I got through my testimony without crying. Okay, maybe a couple of tears. This is so difficult. The bill before the House is about closing the developmental center due to abuse and neglect. I know that there are some good workers there. Many witnesses came forward to testify for both sides. The bottom line is abuse is not okay. Something has to be done to help people with developmental disabilities and mental illnesses. I am so frustrated. I want to do something. Where would I start? I tried to call Stacy tonight, and the home wouldn't let me talk to him. Lord, I need direction. I am so angry I could spit nails. So she's trying to advocate for Stacy to keep him here because she knows this is the last place. This is the last resort. And it usually was a last resort for him, for the other people that are in this facility that need help. I mean, literally says a danger to themselves and others. That's why these people are staying in this center. And as soon as Stacy is released from there, he is out causing havoc, causing crime. He is being violent. Michael is gone. Michael has been abducted. He held a bang bang, pew pew, whatever you want to call it, and held somebody captive in a hotel later down the road. So here's this violent criminal released from this mental / whatever stabilitation or stability center. And yeah, immediately. I mean, one of the people there at the facility was actually let loose. His name was George, and he's like let loose. He goes and stays in an apartment. He's being watched, monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He attacks people that he's living with and tries to kill himself. I mean, this is, and then he ends up back inside of another boys' home. So
He told me himself he got moved from a boys' home because they accused him of, quote, trying to force himself sexually onto another boy there.
oh well. Yeah, and that could very well explain why he ends up in the Montana Developmental Center, because he had nowhere else to go. Because if you do something and what like that and you're accused of it in a boys' home, what other boys' home's going to allow you to be there? Were there
And I am
were
not
there ever charges pressed, or were facts or verifiable proof that that actually happened, or was it just an alleged attack, or do you know?
well, all I have is his word, and of course he's going to say he didn't do anything. He's always clean as, new fallen snow.
Oh,
But
that's what you said. Sorry.
But
You
it was
said
but it was
Stacy.
enough, but it was enough for him to get moved.
Right.
So I think it's a little more than alleged. And this was sent to me, and it goes along with what you were talking about, them closing these things down. I am not bashing on Montana because it's happening in every state. I'm not talking about politics. But it says, if we said we didn't know that the criminals Mary Cafaro had released into the community would reoffend, that it would be a lie. We all knew it and have seen it. Let me point out that the same lady, she names Mary Cafaro, in Montana, who fought so hard to have DD criminals released in the community due to their inability to understand choices or consequences, is unfair to them. Those are her words, not mine. She is still now running in Montana for offices, but her views and beliefs allowed a path for an offender to be back in society where he/they intimately reoffended and possibly were involved with the and disappearance of a 5-year-old boy. That's Michael Vaughn. They didn't listen to us, the staff, and they never will. Some people do not have the right to be in our communities. Stacy Wandra is one of the men Mary allowed to be placed back into a community setting. People in Montana and Idaho, you can thank Mary Cafaro for the release.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like if Brandy ever wanted to move forward with something, she could sue the state of Montana for that place ever closing down, or at least not providing another stable place for these people to go stay once they close that facility down. That's just my opinion. I feel very strongly about this because look at everything he's done since he's got out, and now we have a missing child. I mean, and then he gets together with Sarah while he has all of these mental issues, and she has mental issues, and now they're an even bigger force together. And you're talking Sarah Wandra, her ex-husband came out and talked recently, and he's saying that Sarah's talked about kidnapping people before. She talked about it so much that it scared him, and he divorced her. I was blown away by that statement. I mean, she's been talking about kidnapping people for a long time. She wanted to know what it was like to control somebody. Well, the question is, what was she going to do after she kidnapped and tied people up? What was then going to be her long term? Was she just going to turn around and walk out the door? Was she going to abuse these people, torture these people? Was she going to kill these people? What else was her fantasy? Her ex-husband didn't go too much into it. All he said was she wanted to kidnap people. She never mentioned, kidnapping children, but tying people up to have control. But what was the rest of that fantasy? I'd like to know that.
And I think you're so right. And I think, a lot of her bringing homeless people into the house was her sense of control. Sex, food, shelter, water, job,
Drugs.
drugs. Yeah. Alcohol. I mean, whatever it was, everyone has their vice. Bayou Babe said, bomb colliding with each other. Perfect storm.
Exactly.
And both Sarah and Stacy are very good manipulators. Not that I'm excusing B-Dog, Shirts, or Adrian. No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean them together. Wow. I mean, here you have somebody with just all of these mental health. And I mean, you can watch her TikTok videos. She's a little mental too. I mean, come on. Them being together and then her wanting to abduct or kidnap people. Wow. Yeah. Whose idea was this? I believe it was all Sarah Wandra's idea.
Oh, I do
And
too.
I think everybody in the house needed to do what she wanted them to do. I think she's the one who came up with the idea, talked them all into it. And I really do think that besides the sex, I really do believe that drugs was a huge, huge part of her control with these people because they were all doing drugs. And we all know,
she's like a Charles Manson. She divides, she conquers, and how she's using sex to manipulate, I will never know because she's no Cindy Crawford. But I guess when you dig in the gutter, that's what you get. Now let's talk about this. Belgrade apartment burglarized after Facebook post. Tell me all about it. Of course, there's Stacy.
Yeah, so like it says here, November 30th, 2017, there's a Facebook post by a woman. Let me get in here to my notes. So these two people were arrested after deputies say they burglarized a Belgrade apartment where the resident had posted on Facebook about having free items to give away. This is Victoria Pearson. She's 20. Stacy Wandra, 25 at the time. And he was 23 years old when he stayed in the Montana Center. So this is just a couple years after he gets out of there. We're both arrested Wednesday and charged with felony burglary. Pearson was also charged with felony possession of dangerous drugs after detention staff found methamphetamine on her following the arrest. Wandra's bail was set at $1,000, Pearson's at $5,000, and Gallatin County Justice Court. Let's see, and then so the woman who was moving said that she had posted on a Facebook or her Facebook to give away some items and she didn't want to take them with her. And then that afternoon, she said she came home from work to find her door wide open and several items were missing, and mostly clothing. And so when they picked this woman up, she's actually wearing sweaters from inside the apartment.
Good Lord.
I mean, yeah. So the neighbor reported that her house had been broken into pretty much, or her apartment. And yeah, they just decide, okay, we see this on Facebook. We know this woman's giving away stuff. Let's go to her apartment and let's go break in and steal what we want. Just another perfect example. And then here again, you have her. She's got methamphetamine on her. She's getting charged with another felony on top of it because she has the drugs with her. The drug of choice seems to be methamphetamines. I mean, Adrian Lucian has also gotten in trouble for that. I mean, he's got a huge rap sheet when it comes to drugs and trafficking drugs. So Stacy's been hanging out with people that have been doing drugs for quite a while. And in my opinion, only the interview he does when he talks about giving a false tip, he looks high as hell to me. High as hell to me. again, in my opinion and how I feel, but the way he comes on camera, puts his glasses on, he's sitting in wherever he's at, whether it was a hotel or a shelter, who knows, he's, bouncing all over hell and back in Fruitland or around there. But he puts his glasses on and then he puts them up to the top of his head. His eyes are all bugged out. He's sweating bullets during the conversation. He's clammy. And then you have him attacking people that are coming on to this interview show in the comment section because they're laughing at him over things that he's saying about giving this false tip. And he's pissed off and he's aggravated. And I really believe that a lot of that has to do with the fact that he was just high as hell. Again, my opinion, but I've got a daughter who's been clean off of certain drugs for 12 years. My husband's been clean off of certain drugs for 25 years. I kind of know what the drug situation looks like, and all I got to say is he looks high to me. So, I mean, I just think drugs played a really huge part, I guess, is why I keep mentioning the drugs.
I think there's so many layers to this cake. I can't just put the drug frosting on it. There's just so much going on with these four.
Mm-hmm.
Because tweakers don't want a kid around. They got stuff to do. Hey, they'll steal, they'll pawn, they'll do all of those things. But his aggression, he goes from calm to super angry real quick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and I mean, and that's actually a very good point. They don't like children around. That's a very good point. I've never thought of that before. And then his anger and his explosive disorder that he has, I forget what the name of that is, but that is also another part of his mental health issues, is this explosive personality disorder thing that he has going on that is very, very aggressive. And it's just somebody that can't control their emotions, and when they can't take anymore, they explode. They just explode. And you see this in all of his interviews.
And he has been diagnosed with this intermittent explosive disorder. And, we
Yes.
saw the notes from
Yep.
professionals saying he is a danger to society. Well, it looks like old Stacy did, wrangle him up a job not too long ago. This was on Purple's channel. Shep sent it to me. There he is, Mary. He always has an angle. I, Stacy Wandera, would like to sincerely apologize for my dishonesty to you up front. I know that as a result, my employment with you may be terminated, as I have no reason to convince you otherwise. This is in regards to a job he got, and the employer found out he's a suspect in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. He says, I know this is something that hits hard, and I'm truly sorry. I have been struggling so much because no one will hire me because of this. I was honestly just scared of being judged and honestly being denied employment. I am asking for your forgiveness and an opportunity to continue excelling forward. I truly appreciate this opportunity that you gave me, and I understand if you have to. Hang on. They're out of order. If you have to terminate, and I accept that. So, thank you so much for your kindness and love you have shown me, and hope we can still at least be friends. He's always want to be someone's friend so he can get hotel rooms and stuff. So take care, and I hope to hear from you. So then this is another message. He goes, so here's where it's at. I'll give the computer back when I get cash. I have put countless effort into making calls and spent hours on this. So here's where it's at. I'll give the computer back when I get cash. I have put countless effort into making calls and spent hours on this. So here's what will happen. I've been working since the 29th. I won $150 per day up until yesterday before I called you. Then I'll release the computer. I won't go unpaid. Or you can try going the legal route, which won't get you anywhere because you claims court. That's a civil matter. That's called a civil matter. Or I'll just keep the computer and we'll consider it payment. or you can be a coward too.
I have not yet been able to speak about this. So here you have it right here. First of all, I want to point out in his first message, you know, he wants everybody to think like, I didn't really do good in school. I'm mentally, you know, not very smart. He wants to blame his illnesses on everything that he does in life that's bad. And every time he gets in trouble, it's because of my mental illnesses. It's because of this, that, and whatever. And then here you have him. This is a perfect example of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or a manic behavior and regular behavior. Thank you so much for the opportunity for letting me work to you, blah, 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 to, okay, I'm going to hold this computer hostage and you're going to pay me some money.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah, $150 a day. Brandy said, didn't he only work this job for about 3 days? Yeah. Or I'm not giving you your computer back. And this lady's like, you lied on your application. We already knew that you probably had some stitches in your past, but you didn't tell me that you're currently a suspect in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. So no bueno, big boy. Not going to happen. Now,
there's just no way that some under developmental person that doesn't have any smarts at all could write all of that. And we talked about that during one of our last lives about Stacy too, because of the letters and stuff that he writes, you know, to the judges and stuff. He's actually more intelligent than he wants people to think. He just wants to blame all of his, you know, disorders and stuff. I mean, honestly, how bad are all of the disorders and stuff? I mean, we talk about him being in this facility, so obviously he had some. He was even in the Special Olympics in 2011. I believe he was right around the age of like 18 or 19 years old. So there's obviously something there going on, but I just really don't think it's as bad as he wants everybody to believe that it is. I don't know.
Oh, I think he's definitely got something wrong with him. I mean, his watch is wound a different way. But this would segue into this because this is what JLR put out about a year or so ago. Stacy Wander claims he is innocent. He writes to the judge, Michael Vaughn case.
Lee Riches Investigates. I am covering the Michael Vaughn case out of Fruitland, Idaho. I want to share with everyone today about Stacy Wandra. Stacy Wandra. He is the husband to Sarah Wandra, who is currently in custody in the Payette County Jail, charged with failing to report a death in relation to Michael Vaughn. Stacy Wandra. I was able to obtain a handwritten letter that Stacy Wandra submitted to his judge, claiming he is 100% innocent of his charges. And when I say charges, I mean he was previously charged with a gun charge in federal courts, and he pled guilty and got sentenced. But he wrote to the judge and then claimed he was innocent, and he didn't do it. And it provides a little bit of insight about his character and about his thinking process. You accept responsibility, and then he reneges on that. So I'm going to share with you right now a public court document that I was able to obtain, and then we will discuss a little bit further. Check it out.
So here is a handwritten 2255 post-conviction relief motion by Stacy James Wandra. He submitted this to the courts while he was in federal prison in Sheraton, Oregon, serving time for his probation violation. He originally pled guilty to false statement to acquire a firearm. I will read this. I want to share with you here, right here. So, Wandra claims ineffective assistance of counsel. The lawyer was ineffective in this case and failed to serve his client, violating due process and equal protection under the Constitution. The defendant has serious medical issues. He has autism, Asperger's, explosive disorder, bipolar, and was born with fetal alcohol syndrome. None of these issues were raised in the court, which would have led to the dismissal of charges against him. So he's claiming the medical conditions that he has would have led to charges against him being dismissed. And he's citing Strickland versus Washington. The defendant was coerced into a plea. It was unknowing and involuntary in his mind, as he is not capable of processing the complicated law required to make a rational decision or choice. Further, a panel.
Okay, I'm going to pause it. This is his handwriting. He is incapable of making a rational decision or choice.
He is. He's talking in third person about himself.
Is that not spooky enough? Thank you for picking up on that.
I mean, and he does it in the other letter that we found too. He talks in third person. He'll start talking about himself normally, and then he goes straight into like third person. It's really strange behavior.
I love this from Kat. Too bad Idaho has no insanity defense, huh, Stacy? Looks like you
Good.
should have pulled your shenanigans in another state. They also have the firing squad. I spoke with Stacy about that. And he was adamant. Of course, he called me retarded again. And he said, if there's no body, there's no case. Well, every day we're streaming the trial of Harvey Montgomery. They do not have her body. It is highly circumstantial, don't get me wrong. But if I walk outside and I see puddles of water, my common sense tells me it rained overnight.
And the difference between that case and this case with Monkey is that there's evidence to prove that Monkey was in their backyard.
And in their home.
Yes. There's no evidence where where she is.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I see some people, not in this chat because you guys are cool as hell and you're smart. I've seen other chats going, oh, DAs, they prosecute without a body all the time. They don't like to. They don't like to because that's their crime scene. I know that is horrible to say, but the victim is, that's the rock that was dropped in the water. The ripples that go out is where they investigate.
Exactly. I mean, that's why it's been 14 years and Terry Horman hasn't been arrested yet in the Kyron Horman case.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to prove. And if they walk into court without all of the evidence, without the body, without the evidence, and they can only do it one time. One time. They get one chance to bring somebody down. And if they don't do it, and there's any chance whatsoever that they come back, that there's not enough evidence to put this person, they cannot do it again. They cannot ever try going after them again. In this case, the Michael Vaughn case, I believe that this is going to be a strong case. I believe that Fruitland Police have done an amazing job with everything that they've done. I don't think there's going to be a problem. As soon as indictments go out, all four of them are going to roll. It's just the way it's going to happen.
The prosecuting attorney has already said the complexities in this case. There's a lot going on. You have 4 suspects, not just one main man. You have 4. Mm-hmm. That's a lot to piece together.
Yeah, when indictments start coming, somebody is going to roll on the others. It's just a matter of time. Is it going to be Sarah because she's already spending time and she ain't going to give 2 shits later down the road? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be Stacy? I don't think it's going to be Stacy. I think Stacy is never going to admit ever doing anything, and that's just because of his narcissistic personality. Brandon, Adrian, very well could be one of them, but somebody's going to say something. It's only a matter of time. You can't commit a crime like this and have so many people involved and just think that, I mean, you don't do that. You can't do that and expect nobody to not say anything. Nobody wants to spend their life in prison. Nobody wants to spend 20 years in prison. Someone's going to say something and get a lesser time One of y'all should just do it now and get it over with. Let this family know where Monkey is, and yeah, get some time off of your sentence that's coming.
Yeah, because one of you out of the 4 is the least guilty. And that's a loaded sentence. I get it. But one of you out of the 4 has a shot of seeing the light of day again someday. I'm not cool with it, but that is the truth.
Attorney was appointed, and within 2 months a plea was signed. The lawyer lied and misled the defendant, telling him he had no chance to win, and if he did not sign, now he would be sentenced to more than double time. He was afraid, and no attempt was made to correctly and morally advise him of his rights and chances to have his case dismissed under various issues the writer has found so far. The defendant was not giving access to discovery that even showed a background check was completed by the pawn shop registered seller over the phone before the sale took place and was approved. This counsel was ineffective for failing to raise mental illness claims before the court. Counsel made errors so serious as to deprive the defendant of a fair trial. That deficient performance prejudiced his defense. Double general principles, the handwriting's very hard, should be applied besides Strickland. This is an unreasonable argument to grant claims of ineffective assistance of counsel. Assistance here is constitutionally deficient because counsel is aware that the defendant, something 400-pound frame, crossed eyes, was visible from some distance. It does not take a doctor to instantly realize great problems exist by sight alone, and only several minutes of verbal conversation conclude there is a great problems. He is emotionally and mentally unstable. He is ill and depressed and borders on invalidate status. His treatment while incarcerated have not improved his situation, and immediate action by this court to release him is required without delay and in the interest of justice. Strategic choices made on the defendant's behalf by counsel were unprofessional. Counsel failed to make reasonable investigations for which counsel has a duty.
Okay. I don't know if Stacy was writing this with his left hand or what. God bless Jonathan for having to read this. However, the way he puts together his thoughts and his sentences, this is not the IQ of 62 he's trying to sell the public. Do you not? I mean, I am not just bird's eye view. Go ahead, Samantha.
Honestly, I didn't go past 9th grade. He can write a better letter than I would be able to write. I'm really good with speaking my words than I am with writing skills. Yeah, I would not be able to write a letter that well. It just blows my mind that he tries so hard to convince everybody, woe is me. Oh, I'm not smart. Oh, I've got all these problems. Oh, blah, blah, blah. No, not feeling sorry for Stacy Wandra. He is a liar and a manipulator.
And I can tell you this for fact, because I've talked to him so many times. That fat bastard knows the law. Now, the no body, no charge, he's wrong on that one. He knows the law. He knows the system. This is a lifetime of studying for Stacy. He knows it.
Well, every time he's been incarcerated, he probably just spends his time, because here he is writing his letter. He's doing this himself. It doesn't even look like he's being represented by counsel. He probably can't even afford one. And he's probably just sitting in there bored stupid, looking at the laws and trying to figure it all out. And in the case where he's trying, this no body thing, that's just deflection.
Mm-hmm.
He's just deflecting. That's all it is. You know, he wants to seem like he's smarter than everybody else, just like any criminal wants to do. But it's not going to happen. It's all going to come crumbling down on his head, and there's not going to be a damn thing he's going to be able to do about it.
Oh no. And he knows the pipes are getting ready to burst. Trust me, he knows. When he shrugs off the supposedly giving them the false tip, and he goes, well, if I have to pay for that, I'll pay for that. Shrugs his shoulder, and the double chin waddles and shit. He's not worried about that because he knows he gave a correct tip. He also knows Sarah did. I want to address this comment by HDC. HDC, that's me, said, save yourself, Brandon. The Wanderers aren't going to protect you. That's for sure. Brandon is banking on one thing, that Sarah will continue to protect him. Because as got a secret, you can keep it said, I think it will be Sarah. She already threw Stacy under the bus with her almighty God. In the probable cause affidavit before it was sealed, Sarah said this was Stacy and Adrian. She leaves Brandon out. That's what Brandon is banking on.
Yep.
That she's going to continue. Because remember, when Stacy was sitting on the couch watching his reruns of Chicago Med with his bucket of chicken in front of the TV, he was getting irritated because all he could hear was, oh, Brandon, I can't believe how well you do this. Oh, Brandon, oh, Stacy can't touch that. Stacy doesn't do it that way. He said he was sick of listening to him. He said he was furious. He said he was getting ready to wring his neck. He was so mad. Oh, Brandon. Oh, Brandon. Stacy can't do it. I'm so glad you're here, Brandon. Then they go to shower up, take a horse bath. Who gets the wet spot? Stacy, the bitch.
To perform. A reviewing court must make and apply a heavy measure of deterrence to counsel's deference to counsel's judgments about not investigating anything at all and other poor choices made on the client's behalf. The defendant has shown his own counsel was deficient and is unquestionable counsel's deficient performance prejudiced his case and resulting sentence when he was not guilty of anything. The defendant's Sixth Amendment ineffective assistance claim should be granted and his case dismissed. Counsel failed to investigate and obtain prior medical records and argue diminished capacity. Plaintiff did not make a false statement, so he's denying he made a false statement on his case. The defendant at no time made any false statement on the form provided by the seller, and the government under 922 or 924, the required form is 4473. A mistake was made when, after having a federal charge and a state charge changed to a misdemeanor, which would not restrict the purchase of a firearm, was not corrected in the government's computers. Statutory interpretation begins with the plain language of the statute. If the plain meaning of the statute is unambiguous, that meaning is controlling. Here, the question was in form 4473, are you any charges that you prevent you from buying a firearm? He answered no, which was correct. The question continued, would your sentence be over a year? He said no. The history of this case is that the state of Montana charged the plaintiff with burglary. It was later dropped to a misdemeanor. Shortly after the new plea, he bought a gun on March 14, 2018 for $375. He stated above he correctly filled out 4473 forms and underwent a verbal phoned-in background check.
Can you pause that for a second,
at
Brooks?
the pawn shop seller.
So when we were going over that girl and that arrest that he got into over the apartment, he's talking about that in this letter and how he's talking about how he wasn't it sounded in the letter like he was saying that it was okay for him to have a gun. That's not true. In this article, it specifically says that he is not allowed to possess firearms anymore after this burglary. They say it in this court. So he is not allowed in 2017 to have firearms in any way, shape, or form. And also, I think the state of Montana, now I don't know this for sure, don't quote me on it, this is my opinion only, that if he's in this developmental center in 2015 and he has all of these issues, there are a lot of states in the United States where if it's been proven for you to have a lot of different mental health issues, you're not allowed to have a gun. So I'm curious to know if this was the only time in 2017 where someone actually said, okay, you're not allowed to have firearms. Was it ever said prior to that because of mental illness? Or maybe they used that from 2015-16 and knew that information in this 2017 case for burglary to then decide, okay, yeah, you can have firearms because you're too mentally, unstable. He should not be a person with the firearms, all I know. And he has had them multiple time, been in trouble with them, selling them, buying them, pawning them, lying on, at different pawn shops. He's lying on them about his history, his felonies, in order to get them. Every single thing he's doing is illegal when it comes to these guns. He should not be a person. And then he gets mad at Stacy for throwing him under the bus for having one and selling one at a pawn shop. But how can you even be mad about that when you're a felon and you shouldn't have one?
Exactly. You're already told, and I tell you what, we have case after case after case after case that criminals don't respect the law. Breaking news, they don't. There are some laws that need to be stacked up. There are some laws that need to change. For real. For real, they do. That's up to the citizens because the criminals won't do it. They don't pay attention to the laws we have. The laws that are on the books are to keep honest people honest. Stacy is not one of those. He is not. He knew he was not supposed to have a gun. I'm pretty sure he knew not to abduct a child or be part of it. He knows these things. Like I said,
well, he obviously can tell right from wrong. He's more intelligent than he leads on to. I mean, he knows right from wrong, even though he has all of these issues going on. He knew abducting a child was definitely not something you want to be doing, It's just so frustrating. It's frustrating for me, and I feel sorry for Brandy and her family because this man was released from a center. And if he wouldn't have been released from the center, I just really feel like none of this would have ever happened. And when we found this information, it just pissed me off.
Oh,
I would sue Montana for Brandy if I could. I really, really would. It irritates me to no end.
Well, and I have absolutely zero issues writing letters to this woman, this Mary Cafaro. She's still running for office in Montana because this is someone that worked at the center that said Stacy Wander is one of the many men Mary allowed to go back into the community because she said it wasn't fair to them. She said, let me point out that the same lady, Mary Cafaro in Montana, who fought so hard to have DD criminals released in the community due to their inability to understand choices or consequences, is unfair to them. It hurts their feelings, Samantha.
Yeah, she needs a lot of people writing letters. These people were a danger to themselves and other people. It says it when you look up this center. A danger to themselves and other. Why were they allowed to just be released and put out on the streets with nowhere else to go? Fine, you want to shut down the center. Fine, there's neglect. Fine, there's abuse. I get it. These are all good reasons why you would want to shut down a facility. But Montana State ran this. So now do your damn job. Open up somewhere else for these people to go. Find other places for these people to go. Don't just release them out into society.
Well, my question to this Mary Cafaro, who worked so hard to say because they don't know right from wrong, they should be in society, is basically what she's saying. It's unfair to them. My question to her, as if she's listening, but I think letters will get across her desk pretty soon. Certified works better than email, by the way. Would you let Stacy Wandra babysit your children, nieces and nephews, grandchildren? Would you let Stacy Wandra? And to those that say he is clean as a new whistle, would you let him watch your children?
Yeah, that's a big fat no.
Diane said, I have worked with special needs for 40 plus years. This is not an IQ of 62. At best, Stacy copied this from someone who gave it to him. He drives, which requires a written test. His claims are BS. Thank you.
He possessed and was cleared. 5 days later, his car broke down and he needed the car for work. He sold the gun back to the pawn shop for $325 to fix his auto that took him to work to support his family. 90 days later, while driving home from Reno to go to work in Montana, he was pulled over and arrested. He was pulled over and arrested. He had done nothing wrong, and a computer error of the government left him in this mess. Under ordinary rules of statutory construction, courts presume that Congress acted intentionally when it chose to include the word material in 18 U.S.C. 922 A.B., but to omit it from 18 U.S.C. 922 A.1a, which is part of the same act. Here, the court should have given meaning to the difference in congressional intent. It failed not to, so as this conviction should be overturned. The government failed to prove that the sale and form out of 4473 had falsehood related to the lawfulness of the sale. The case here does not criminalize a broad range of false statements. Actionable falsehoods are only those statements required under the law to be kept under the federally licensed firearm dealer. No statement alleged was in that category. The federal seller must keep name, age, and place of residence of all buyers. The best of the info was cleared in the telephone background check to the federal government, who okayed the sale. That is the end of it, and any charges should be investigated by his counsel. They were not, and the defendant was suffered at the hands of an ineffective lawyer and a faulty government computer system. And then here's some more forms. And then this is my first appeal on all issues. My sentence was April 4, 2019. There it is. Stacy J. Wandra, Sheraton, Oregon, Sheraton Prison. Here's an affidavit that he submitted. I swear under the penalty of perjury. I sent a copy of the attached motion to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Billings, Montana, signed by Stacy J. Wandra, 3/7/2020. This is a public court record. Anyone can obtain the same record by going onto the PACER system. This is a post-conviction relief motion that Stacy Wandra filed with the courts, United States District of Courts. He claims he is innocent. He claims ineffective assistance of counsel. He's claiming he did not do his crime.
So that came from Stacy Wandra. Some of the handwriting might be his, some of it might not, but it's handwritten, signed by him, an affidavit at the end by him. He submitted that to the court, saying he's innocent. He wants, he wants to get out of jail. Ultimately, the judge, Susan Waters, a federal judge out of Billings, Montana, denied that motion. It was a 2254. It's a post-conviction relief that inmates can ask for that are sentenced after they exhausted their appeal process. So he was trying to proclaim his innocence, even though he pled guilty. He claimed ineffective assistance of counsel, said, his counsel was at fault here. What do you think? What do you think?
That's what they always say when they get caught and go to the pokey. They always say, my lawyer sucked. They always say that. Lisa Durr coming with common sense said people who don't know right from wrong don't cover up a crime. And insanity doesn't mean a hill of beans in Idaho. That guy is not stupid. He knows exactly what he has done. Oh, Darlene didn't get it when she was, in here before she got timed out for 18 years from Cat. She said, he told you, he answered all your questions. Oh, did he? How come he kept changing the appearance of the child he saw? The kid just being a kid in a neighbor's yard. Why would any?
The whole situation with him seeing the child, I mean, he says at one point that he was only, they're putting power steering in for 30 seconds, okay?
Mhm.
And then he says this child was a few houses down, 6 houses down. He says this child was playing in a neighbor's yard. How did he know if it was a neighbor's yard or his own yard if he didn't know who this child was? He says that the child is on the sidewalk playing with something. Then he retracts and can't say what the child was playing with. Can't even say if he was on a scooter or a tricycle. And then he says that the child was playing in the yard and now we're away from the sidewalk and now he's in a yard. He can't say if it's a boy or a girl. He says this child could be 6, 7, and then in other interviews, 8, 9, and then all the way up to 10. Couldn't tell if it was a boy or girl, ends up saying it was a boy. Now it's an Hispanic kid. Couldn't tell what he was wearing, but then later on the clothes were bright colored.
Bright lime green with gray
Yeah.
shorts. And he goes, dark hair like mine. And he was really filled out. So I know he's at least 11. Ew.
What?
No.
You saw all this in 30 seconds. You have all of these different stories and all of these different descriptions of this child in 30 seconds. He's like all over the place. It's pure deflection. It's all it is. Because he gets caught by you because you trapped him and he admits to seeing a child and now he's like, and doesn't know what the hell to say.
Well, because he said it to me the day before and my toes curled and I just skipped right over it. And so when I had him on the show, because it would be hearsay, I said, well, what about the child you saw?
It's a good job. You did such a good job having him on, interviewing him, being his friend, getting him to talk. I mean, you just let him talk and talk and talk. He dug his own damn hole. All he's done is talk and talk and talk and lie and lie and lie. I mean, law enforcement having all of that information, and we know law enforcement is watching, and law enforcement has all of this information. We've actually found where law enforcement has said that they are. I found a news clip actually that says that they watched all of Brandon's interview.
Yep, they
So
did.
they're watching. And this will all be used against them in court. Trust me. He admitted to seeing a child during the same time that Michael disappeared. Get out of that one, Stacy. Get out of that one.
Good luck, big boy. You can't unring a bell.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Brandon needs to get up on panel and start talking and
Save yourself, Brandon. Not that I really want you to, but I mean it's valid advice.
Yeah, get up and talk about what happened on 8th Street in Arizona. What were you guys doing there? Was it power steering? Did Brandon see a child? Whose idea was it to take Michael's? Like, just talk and say something, before somebody else does.
Here's a friendly reminder, Brandon. And even if one of your sock accounts is blocked from in here, you have the link. You can still come on panel. This might be a friendly reminder. By the way, this is from our friend over here. Love her work. Love her research. I'll put the link in. Always want to give credit where credit is due. And again, thank you everybody for getting our girl Samantha, a redhead like me, up over 1,000. Woohoo!
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that so much. You guys just don't even know. It's been amazing to just to watch the channel grow, to be welcomed by the community. It's appreciated.
You always have a seat here. Friendly reminder, Brandon, Stacy, Adrian, this is going to look familiar to you.
Now, is that the shed outside of Sarah and Stacy's house where they were living? I've never seen that angle before.
In the backyard by the shed. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go over here.
Now, is it on that side of the house where the barbecue pit was, where the patio that had the barbecuer and that bald spot in the yard?
Well, there's 2 barbecues. Let's talk about that real quick since you brought it up. Because it's very important to revisit. Tanner Butler got into it with both Sarah and Stacy. They kept a barbecue grill over a bald spot in the yard. Well, he was moving it. I guess he wanted a barbecue that day.
He who? Tanner?
Tanner. They
Okay.
flipped out and all hell broke loose. I mean, rage ensued. He got beat with a dog bone. Tanner Butler did. I think she pulled a pew. I mean, you name it.
Okay, so
they
you're
kept-
confirming what I didn't know. So the story is that Tanner wanted to cook something, and Stacy and Sarah get upset about him wanting to use the barbecuer where this bald spot is in the yard. That's when she gets in that fight with Tanner?
It was that day. I don't know the timing. I would love to hear more from Tanner Butler. He knows how to get a hold of me. I have a feeling he's going to be a very important witness in this case. They didn't care about the barbecuing because, let's face it, they're always hungry. They're always looking for the next meal. Anyhow, they didn't want it moved because Oakley would dig it up. Now, there's already holes all over the yard from Oakley digging, but that spot in particular, no bueno. You move that barbecue grill and Oakley digs, you get your ass beat with a dog bone. That's what happened.
And that's why she's serving time right now, is for putting the bang bang up to Tanner's head, allegedly. Correct?
And other things. She'll be there a while.
Right.
So there's a walk down memory lane for these 4 assholes. If the family can't get it out of their mind and they have multiple sleepless nights thinking about the hell they've experienced for over 2.5 years, why do you 4 get a break?
Yeah, it breaks my heart every time to see that footage, just knowing that they were listening to all of it. And it wasn't just for 1 day or 2 days. It was for a couple of weeks. That family had to listen to that machinery. And I can't even imagine. Honestly, I feel like Fruitland should have put them in a hotel while all of that was going on so they didn't have to, because it's just heartbreaking.
no way was Brandy and Tyler going to leave. They were offered that. It was
where they were.
yeah, it was
That's good to know.
offered. They encouraged them to not be there. No way was Mama Bear not going to be there. Matter of fact, they probably need their own agency to hold Brandy back.
Yeah, I remember during the interview that I watched with Madonna that she says, I was not going anywhere. You're one strong woman. Chris Madonna asks Tyler and the grandpa there at the house, you know, what would you guys like to see happen to the individuals responsible for Michael's abduction? And Tyler says, you know, have them prosecuted to the fullest extent or put them in a room with Brandy. Yeah.
I'm all for that. I'm all for that. And I would like to put this woman, this not that one, this Mary Cafaro, that thought it'd be a good idea because she didn't want to hurt his feelings and other people like him. There's more out there. She wanted him back into the community because she said inability to understand choices or consequences is unfair to them. That's what she said, not me. She's a legislator. I can't make these decisions. I can't make these rulings.
Yeah, it's very, you know, I would like to have the list of people that actually was in that facility and just look and find out how many of them, besides George, that I already know about the story, that he's already hurt people and tried to hurt himself. And then Stacy Wandra now being the main suspect in a child abduction. Like, what about the other people? What have they done? Have they hurt people? Have they done something to children? Have they hurt themselves?
Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, I want to say congratulations to you. You are finally up over 1,000. Should have happened a long time ago. Part of that is my fault. I need to do better job promoting. But sometimes
you promote me all the time. Nothing's your fault. You were the first person I came on panel with. I was a nervous wreck, and you just talked me into it. I came up, I talked about Kyron, came on the show a couple of other times. We totally click every time I'm on panel. I should just, you know, reach out more, come up on panel more. I'll learn about these other cases that you're doing so that we can just talk about other missing children's cases together, because I really enjoy coming on, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. From the very beginning, you've been by my side. You have told me to keep going, keep pushing, you know, you've believed in me from the very beginning. And I just really appreciate you. And I appreciate you for always having me here. Yeah, I love you. You've turned into a wonderful friend.
You are. I tell you what, our husbands get mad when we get on the phone together because they're like, oh, can you even see me? I mean, when Samantha and I get together, I mean, we just talk and talk and talk and talk. Hell, we went through the whole history of Wheel of Fortune one day, just bullshit, just talking back and forth.
Oh my gosh, Friday night, I think we spent almost 2.5, 3 hours just BSing about salmon fishing and our lives, and, you know, you staying up here in Portland at Jubit's. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait for you guys to come this way, or maybe I'll end up down that way soon, and we'll have to get together and face to face, and that would be a fun night for sure.
Oh, 100%. Bring some bail money because you never know what's going to happen when I hit the town. All right, Samantha, much love to you. I'll be talking to you in a couple of hours. Much love to all of you. Thank you for being here because we had 2 shows today. OJ is pissed because he keeps, I mean, he wants attention. He wants attention. Well, I mean, I have to head out, so he'll have to wait on his attention. But you guys are the absolute best chat and best community on YouTube, because I can say hands down, and Samantha can say it for her channel too. You guys are here for the right reasons. You're not here for the this creator, that creator, this creator, that creator. Did you hear what that one did? No one gives a shit. And like Eileen said, opinions do not find missing children. You guys are the best, and I will see you back here tomorrow. It's going to be a heartbreaking day again because deep breath. We will be streaming the trial of Harmony Montgomery. If anything, I have to say this, if anything breaks in any of the other cases that we follow, and I mean breaks, we will interrupt streaming and we will discuss that and go back to Harmony's case. It might look a little sloppy, but well, we get it. Samantha, love you, girlfriend. Love all of you. And I will see you back here tomorrow morning. We're
Love
out.
you too, girlfriend. Thanks everybody for having me.